when there's an injustice, whether it's against you or someone you love or someone you believe in, stand up. Don't sit down. Don't sit down on them because they need you.
Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and we are on Verdict Watch. It's happening. We are still waiting for the jury to come back to give us their verdict on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case. However, today they came back to the judge, the lawyers activated, and they had some questions. We are going to play that clip and update you on where we stand. So happy to be here with It's Kim and
Hello.
Steph, the alternate. How you ladies doing?
Hey up, hey up, hey up. Not doing too bad. How about you guys?
My stomach is in knots.
Yeah, it's been an interesting day. I tried to get offline a little bit. I still gave you guys some content yesterday. We were gonna go live, and then I was like, I just want to hang out with my kids another day because I knew this week's gonna get pretty hectic. Yeah, I've been just like, I don't think we're gonna hear today. That's my guess as well. I think if anything, tomorrow is more likely because as we see this form that they have to fill out, there's a lot of information they got to actually agree on. It's not just like one question. There's like, like a ton of questions they got to go through, mark their answers, each of them sign, and I guess this all has to be unanimous. There's still a lot they're going to have to do. I imagine there's a lot of arguing today, or just understanding each other today, who's gonna be where. But all right, before we speculate and give us our thoughts and where we've been, let's not bury the lead. Yes, the jury came out, or I asked the judge for something specific. Here was what happened.
Hi, good afternoon. Oh, let me get you copies. We have a question. Deputy Who says it's good. I only have 2 copies, so that's what we go. Let me just read into the record the question. It's basically in regards to number C, items 1 and 3, and number C is a jury instruction on the finding instruction for the online article title. The question is, does question number 3, the statement is false, pertain to the headline, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath, or does it pertain to the content of the statement, everything written in the op-ed? So I think the confusion came in this particular one because the statement in question is the title of the op-ed. So I think they're just confused as whether it's the whole op-ed or just the title is the statement. And it's clear that the title is the statement. So I was going to answer to say the title is the statement in question for number 3. Does that seem appropriate to everybody?
Johnny's team's like, yep. Elaine's like,
Which they've phrased as headline as opposed to title. But
Right, because the headline is the
right
is the alleged defamatory statement. So I can say the statement is the headline, and not the entire op-ed. Is that what you want me to say? All right.
Thank you.
The statement is the headline, not the entire op-ed. All right. I will send that back to them.
And just so we're clear,
As
Your Honor,
well.
the wording would be what again?
I can give you the copy of this one. Okay, it says the statement is the headline, not the entire op-ed. Everybody's.
just give me a second.
Okay. Well, while we're waiting for that, Mr. Chu, I did get your motion. I'm not ignoring you, but I am kind of ignoring you because since the jury has the case now and it's out of my hands, I appreciate your motion, but I'm not going to entertain it at this time, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Just can I have one moment, Your Honor? Just want to.
she's like, I guess, if you really need it. If you really need this moment.
I need an English lesson right now just to understand.
I guess you can have this moment.
Title is the statement. Like, hello?
We're going to explain a bit.
Statement
I'm
is
just
the
making
title.
sure we watch the full exchange here with the judge. Thank you. As my Tommy brings my lunch in. Thank you,
All
baby.
right, are we satisfied with that answer? Okay, I will, we'll make copies of this first, and then I'll get it back to the jury, and I'll get it back to you, okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your
Court will be
Honor.
in recess. Thank you.
That's it. That was it. So we will wait to see if more comes out, if more questions come out. But what does that mean? Let's break it down. Not a lot of press in the room, which is surprising to me. But there we go. Boom. Cameras are off, and that's where we settled off. All right. So what are they talking about? All right, we have a correction. I'm going to splice this in the edit so that way hopefully the standalone version will be the correct one, and I'll put a little time code in the comments. Hopefully you found it to tell you I was wrong. I read the wrong document. The jury's question was actually around this jury instructions form. That's why I was a little confused. There's two documents, and this one was a little out of date. Their question revolved around number C of the jury's instructions, and question 3 of this, does the statement include just the headline or the entire piece? They are asking more specifically during their finding instructions. So as we go through these finding instructions, it's a lot, impartiality, you have to, credibility of witnesses, verdict not be based on sympathy, bias, guesswork, or speculation, liability issues. We go through all this stuff, more liability issues, and then we get to the finding instructions. You shall return your verdict for Mr. Depp on his claim of defamation about the following statement. Ms. Heard made or published the following statement. I spoke up against ASV. That's the one we're actually putting the question on. This number C document. So as soon as they got to the instructions, they were confused because they're like, well, I'm confused. Are we talking about the whole article or just the statement? Now, it does continue. There are 3 statements each labeled in C, D, and E. So it's a little confusing. So it's similar to what the one we read earlier, which is this document, which is a special verdict form that they need to fill out. It's pretty much the same thing, but it's the first one on the form, so it makes a little bit more sense why they might have been confused. I still don't think this tells us anything. Personally, I think this is only, as to who's winning, I could argue either way as to whether this is more pro Johnny or more pro Amber. And as Christopher Melcher said, I want to repeat since we get this clipped later without the incorrect information. It means they're trying to figure out what the form means before filling it out. Speculation that the jury has said yes to everything prior is pure guess. There could be a juror who disagrees with everybody else on what the form means, and that's why they had to take it to the judge. We are reading tea leaves here. So again, they have a question about the instructions. That potentially implies that they haven't even started the verdict form yet. We don't even know if they have, guys. And the verdict form goes through each statement. Johnny and Amber both have 3 statements that they have to go through and correct. An answer. Was this made false? Is it about Johnny? Is it false? Is it the statement have a defamatory implication about Mr. Depp? Was it designed and intended by Ms. Heard? Due to circumstances surrounding the publication of the statement, if conveyed a defamatory implication to someone else who saw it other than Mr. Depp, clearly. If yes to all of these things, you have to ask, did they do it with clear malice? Did Amber do it with clear malice? Now, there's 3 statements they got to do that with. Now, I don't know if he's got to win all of those or if they can just find one of those. I think they can just find one of those defamatory and then Johnny can still win. But that's what this is about. And then this verdict form then goes in and answers more about Ms. Heard's claims. And at the end of each section, they ask how much compensatory and punitive damages that they want to award. So that's the form that they got to each hand out to get it to, or they got to hand out to get to the judge for the verdict. But before that, there's all these instructions we can go through, and we will go through the live to break down sort of what this means. But again, just like the other one, you shall only return your verdict for Mr. Depp on the claim of defamation about the following statement if he has proved by the greater weight of the evidence that Ms. Heard made or published the following statement. I spoke up against SV and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. The statement was about Mr. Depp. The statement is false. The statement has a defamatory implication. The defamatory implication was designed and intended by Ms. Heard. Due to the circumstances surrounding the publication, it conveyed someone other than Mr. Depp who saw it with malice. If Mr. Depp failed to prove any or more of the 7 elements above, then you shall find your verdict for Ms. Heard with respect to the above statement. So again, I'm a little confused why they're confused by this. It's pretty clear to me that it's referring to the line versus the whole article, but this is what they were actually debating and questioning about, as I've verified with multiple people that we got the form incorrect, but the intent is the same, so we weren't that far off. Steph, does this change your opinion at all? I assume not.
No.
Kim, likewise. Lewis, are you surprised that the jury was confused by this and is asking whether it's the statement or the actual whole article? You're muted.
There's a lot of different people. They're going to ask a lot of questions. They want to be careful. They don't want to destroy the other person's life, accidentally or like by being careless. First time I see this, Andy, and looking at all these questions right here, Johnny Depp's going to win. I mean, I'm trying to be subjective when you read that, and it's like, yeah, Johnny Depp's going to win. There's no way. I mean, unless the jury's like really, really in another planet or something,
which they could be.
Confident. Yeah, well, yeah, that can't be. See, if they're from another planet, then they're gonna ask questions.
Which I would want them to, so they understand our culture.
Remember, it's $50 million they're asking from a woman that barely has $1 million, right? And then they're trying to counter with Johnny Depp $100 million. It's not. This should be thought through. It shouldn't be just like, hey, I like Johnny Depp's movies. Let's give it to him. At least like look at the evidence and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm confident Johnny's going to win. 100%.
I'm confident too as we go through this, and I'm going to break it down further with you guys. Again, if you're just tuning in or you're watching on the replay, you want to watch the full conversation, make sure you hit the join button, hit the join, pick a level. You'll be able to watch all the replays on the main channel page. If you are watching us live, however, congratulations, you're here already. You don't have to worry about it. You made it to the show. You're here live. I love you. Can you do me a favor though? Make sure you're subscribed at least. Double check, as Lewis always says. Sometimes you're unsubscribed, so hit the bell, verify you're subscribed, smash the like, leave a comment, etc. down below, and support my friends. I plug them all throughout the show. It's Kim, Steph the Alter Nerd, and Nerd Report, all available on YouTube for your subscriptions. Hopefully you'll go support them, because you should, because they're great. What do you think of this question the jury has brought out?
It's not that it's, I don't know. You can read this any number of different ways, to be quite honest. You could read it as essentially they're having trouble with liability. You could read it with the question of they're trying to take Johnny's strongest argument first, break it out into one question, and then see if they can get everyone on board with that one question. You can read it that they don't really have agreement on any of the other issues, and they kind of want to narrow this one question, try and get consensus on at least one of the claims of defamation. So honestly, I don't know. I'm trying not to read into it, because juries notoriously ask questions, and we try to read into them every single time they ask a question, and we're always wrong.
Yeah, so anybody out there making these predictions, they don't know what they're talking about is the reality, because we just don't know. It could be one lone supporter of trying to push back that they're trying to kick down. It could be them all supporting the same person but trying to just confirm that they're all on the same page. You could argue either side is what I'm gathering here, no?
Oh yeah, easily.
I mean, the thing that's interesting is that why ask the question though that they're asking, just because it is pretty clear from the document that they're talking about the three statements. Why it is a little bit. Oh, there he is. It's a little bit of a confusing.
Hello.
It's a little bit of a confusing ask to be like, well, why is it the whole article or just these three statements that are repetitively in both our instructions and in the more specific jury form? What do you think's throwing them off?
The instructions themselves they're exceedingly complicated. I mean, if you look at it, it says, view this statement as the statement. This one sentence. Yeah, SV, sorry. View this SV, period. And then also take a look at it in the context it's written in the op-ed. Like, it gives you this, it says to do both at the same time.
Right, so this was the file. It was actually this page. We were wrong the first time. It wasn't the special request form. It was this one, which was, it's a lot of forms. There it is. C is the one in question, correct? So why again, so as you're breaking that down, what is your thought process as to what maybe had them thrown off?
So they asked on this particular finding instruction, specifically to that question 3, the statement is false. They wanted to speak to what statement this question was referring to. And the judge had to clarify that it
Which
was
is
just that one sentence.
right here, yeah.
That I was, yeah. So, but then if you go to, I think it's page 15 of 38 of the document.
It does say to use the whole, that's the one we just looked at. You must consider the
Yeah.
whole op-ed.
The entire op-ed. And it says it twice. So the jury's focused on that finding instruction and trying to figure out what they're doing. But then you go to the actual jury, the verdict form, and it makes it even more confusing.
Yeah, it all just sort of reiterates the fact that does each jury member need to fill this out, or is this a cumulative?
The verdict form is filled out by the foreperson.
Okay, got it. So only the foreman has to fill this out, but he has to fill it out with the agreement of everybody else.
Correct. And then they go through. They can ask for the roll call, or they can do away with that. They can dispense with it or waive it. But the judge will go through and say, "Is this a true and accurate reflection of your verdict?" Yes, 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 all the way through.
Now, the other question I have is: there's 3 statements, right? Is this false? Is this false? Can he win one of them? Or
yes, each one of those statements is viewed as a separate act of defamation.
So all he has to do is win one, and it's done. They might say, "We don't think this one is, but this one isn't." Do you think that's likely? Do you think they'll separate these statements? Is there one that's more sure for you in your mind that he could win?
That's kind of the indication the question is suggesting right now, because this first statement. So if you view all the statements in isolation, right, this is the most powerful of the 3. I spoke up against blank and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. Then the next ones are a little bit more vague. You know, I was a victim of blank, the broader category of things, and you know, I was ostracized from Hollywood. Well, the second one is a lot more ambiguous. It's a lot more opinion statement. Like if you go to that sentence, so scroll down to the next page of this thing.
Which one? Those are the 3.
2. Yeah, so that's one of them right there. The rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of blank. Well, how much, I mean, look at how much caveat is carved into that sentence. You know, she was in the rare vantage point of seeing. Did she really see it? Was this more hypothetical? Is this more an opinion or a statement of fact? How are they going to view that one? The first sentence, I spoke out against SV and faced our culture's wrath. That one is the one that has the most direct implication to Johnny Depp did this thing. I can prove that's demonstrably false or not demonstrably false, and therefore I win or lose on the defamation case.
Do you think there was like a debate as to how to sort of handle this question? Is this the question that's most damning for her?
I mean, yeah. So the funny thing about this, the title itself, was early in the testimony and the evidence, they basically got out that the Washington Post wrote the title.
Right.
That's what they got out. They said Washington Post wrote it, which is routine with all editorials. The editorial board is the one who writes the title because they're the one who knows how it's going to get analyzed via SEO, etc. So they want the title, they write it. That's their statement. So they write this really dramatic and hard-hitting title. And you have testimony from the ACLU saying they wrote it, testimony from her saying I didn't write it. And that was at the end of her case in chief. Well, then they brought up this tweet, the retweet. And if she adds anything to that tweet, anything to the hyperlink to suggest that it's trying to reach a new audience, then she has essentially embraced that title as her own statement and thrown it out there to the world. And by her going on the stand in the rebuttal case and her speaking verbally and testifying to that, I mean, she doubled down on that. She said, yes, I published it. Yes, it was my statement. Yes, it was all of that. And if I was her attorney, I would try to distance myself from that headline as far as freaking possible. And she just didn't take that message to heart.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you missed the whole stream, we went for almost 5 hours. I'm exhausted, but it was so great. I did a Star Wars rant that lost like 4,000 viewers, so you're not going to miss that one. So hit the join button, hit the tier that you like, join, become a member, and support us, and that way you can catch the full unedited streams at your leisure in the members only playlist on the main channel page. Make sure to support my friends as well. Steph the Alter Nerd, it's Kim who's hiding her face, Paige Vaughn, and Louis Lecca, who we're going to go over now. If you're watching live, we're going to rate him. Go say, hi, I love Star Wars. You're a racist. Whatever you want to say. Put it on over there. Keep that debate going to Louis, or just say, yeah, whatever you want. But it's going to port over there if you're watching live. If you're not watching live, click on one of these. There'll be videos there later. Sometimes I forget to put them there because YouTube doesn't automatically put them there, which they really should. Don't you think, Steph? It's kind of weird. But in the meanwhile, at least hit subscribe. Thank you for watching. You're going